September 1917. The Ottoman Empire had ruled the Holy Land for centuries. Its secret police had become experts at hunting spies. That morning, officers surrounded a quiet house in the small village of Zikrin-Uakov. Inside, a young woman remained astonishingly calm. She knew exactly why they had come. For nearly 2 years, she had helped run one of the most dangerous spy networks in the Middle East. Every coded message, every hidden document, every military secret had brought her one step closer to this moment. The officers searched every room, every drawer, every piece of furniture. Then, they found what they had been looking for. Within minutes, she was arrested. Most spies break after a few hours of interrogation. She endured days of unimaginable torture. Her captors beat her, threatened her family, demanded the names of everyone working with her. She refused to speak, not because she believed she would survive, but because she knew that one confession could destroy an entire intelligence network and change the outcome of World War I. Days later, she made a decision so extraordinary that historians still remember her more than a century later. Her name was Sarah Aaronsohn, and this is the true story of the woman who built one of history's most successful wartime spy networks. Long before Sarah Aaronsohn became one of the Ottoman Empire's most wanted spies, she was simply the daughter of pioneers. She was born on January 5, 1890, in the small agricultural settlement of Zikrin-Uakov, located in what was then Ottoman-controlled Palestine. Her parents, Ephraim and Malka Aaronsohn, were among the first Jewish settlers determined to build new lives on land that many believed could never support thriving communities. Life wasn't romantic. It was brutal. The rocky hills offered little mercy. Disease spread quickly. Water was scarce. Many families abandoned their dreams within months. The Aaronsohns refused. Sarah grew up watching survival become a daily battle. From an early age, she proved different from those around her. She learned several languages with remarkable ease: Hebrew, Turkish, Arabic, French, English. She could move comfortably between cultures, speaking to local farmers one moment and educated European visitors the next. People remembered her intelligence, but they also remembered something else. She noticed everything. Tiny details others ignored. Conversations, facial expressions, unexpected visitors. Years later, those same abilities would make her an extraordinary intelligence operative. Her older brother, Aaron Aaronsohn, shared her determination. A brilliant agronomist and scientist, Aaron gained international recognition after discovering wild emmer wheat, one of the earliest known ancestors of modern wheat. His scientific work attracted governments, diplomats, and military officers from around the world. The Aaronsohn family home slowly became more than a farmhouse. It became a gathering place. Scientists visited. Foreign officials stopped by. Military officers passed through. Sarah listened quietly. She rarely interrupted, but she absorbed everything. Then history placed her on a journey she never expected. In 1914, World War I erupted. The Ottoman Empire entered the war alongside Germany. Almost overnight, Palestine transformed into a military zone. Soldiers filled the roads. Supplies disappeared. Food became scarce. Fear spread through every village. At first, Sarah hoped the conflict would eventually pass. Then she witnessed something that changed her forever. While traveling through parts of the Ottoman Empire, she encountered columns of exhausted Armenian civilians. Women, children, the elderly. They were being forced from their homes under armed guard. Many collapsed from hunger before reaching their destinations. Others simply disappeared. The scenes horrified her. Historians believe these encounters profoundly shaped Sarah's view of the Ottoman authorities. She became convinced that silence could be just as dangerous as violence itself. Returning home, she found conditions worsening. Ottoman military commanders tightened their control over Palestine. Suspicion grew everywhere. Neighbors began informing on neighbors. Entire communities lived under constant surveillance. Then, in 1915, tragedy struck the Aaronsohn family. Sarah's beloved brother Aaron was away on scientific missions connected to the British. His absence left a dangerous vacuum. Someone had to protect both the family and the growing stream of sensitive information flowing through their home. Sarah quietly stepped into that role. At first, it seemed like a temporary responsibility. It wouldn't stay that way for long, because within months, a secret organization would be born inside her own home. an organization so effective that British generals would later credit it with helping reshape the Middle East. The organization had no official headquarters, no uniforms, no salaries, no military rank. From the outside, it looked like an ordinary farming community. Behind closed doors, it was becoming one of the most valuable intelligence networks in the First World War. Its name was Neely. The Hebrew acronym stood for The Eternal One of Israel Will Not Lie. The group's mission was breathtakingly dangerous. Help the British defeat the Ottoman Empire. Not with weapons, but with information. Sarah Aaronsohn wasn't simply helping. She quickly became the heart of the operation. Her family home in Zikrin Yaakov transformed into a secret intelligence center. British officers never officially walked through the front door. Instead, messages traveled through trusted couriers. Invisible ink, hidden notes, coded letters. Nothing could appear suspicious. Every report mattered. Sarah and her network carefully recorded the locations of Ottoman military camps, troop movements, railway lines, water wells hidden in the desert, supply depots, defensive positions. Even the smallest detail could save thousands of Allied soldiers. Then came the greatest challenge. How could they deliver their intelligence to the British? At first, couriers attempted dangerous journeys across enemy territory. Many never returned. The risk became unbearable. So the network devised a remarkable solution. Far out in the Mediterranean Sea, a small British naval vessel quietly approached the Palestinian coastline under cover of darkness. On moonless nights, members of Neely slipped through vineyards and rocky hills toward isolated beaches. There, they met British sailors. Secret reports changed hands within minutes. Before sunrise, everyone disappeared. The operation worked. Again, and again, and again. British commanders in Egypt began receiving intelligence unlike anything they had ever seen. Maps, enemy numbers, fortifications, weaknesses. General Edmund Allenby, preparing his campaign against Ottoman forces in Palestine, suddenly possessed information that many historians believe gave the British an extraordinary advantage. The success of Neely stunned British intelligence. But every successful mission created a new danger. The Ottomans noticed something was wrong. Too many British attacks struck the right places. Too many supply depots were discovered. Too many military movements seemed anticipated. Someone was leaking secrets. The Ottoman secret police launched a massive counterintelligence operation. Villages were searched. Travelers questioned. Letters intercepted. Anyone suspected of cooperating with the British became a target. Sarah understood exactly what this meant. Every meeting became more dangerous. Every coded message carried the possibility of death. Yet she refused to stop. Friends urged her to leave Palestine while escape was still possible. She wouldn't. She believed abandoning the network would place everyone else at even greater risk. Then, one tiny mistake changed everything. Not a soldier, not a traitor, not an informant. A pigeon. For months, Neely had occasionally relied on trained carrier pigeons to send urgent messages. Most reached their destination. One didn't. The exhausted bird landed inside an Ottoman military camp. Around its leg, officers discovered a coded message. At first, they couldn't read it. But they didn't need to. The existence of the message proved one terrifying fact. A sophisticated spy network was operating somewhere inside Palestine. The hunt intensified overnight. Homes were raided. Suspects disappeared. Interrogations became increasingly brutal. Every road leading toward Zikrin Yaakov filled with Ottoman patrols. Sarah realized the circle was closing. The question was no longer whether the authorities would find them. It was, who would be captured first? The raid came before sunrise. Ottoman soldiers surrounded Zikrin Yaakov from every direction. No one was allowed to leave. Every home was searched. Every resident questioned. The quiet farming village had become a prison overnight. Sarah watched from her window as armed officers moved from house to house. She knew exactly what they were looking for. Not weapons. Not money. Names. One name could unravel everything. The commander leading the operation had only one objective: destroy Neely. No matter how long it took. One by one, members of the network disappeared. Some never returned. Others came back broken. Rumors spread quickly. The Ottomans weren't simply questioning suspects. They were torturing them. Sarah had prepared herself for this possibility years earlier. She had hidden sensitive documents, destroyed coded messages, warned trusted contacts. But one thing couldn't be erased. People. If even one member broke under interrogation, the entire network would collapse. Then it happened. Ottoman officers knocked on the Aaronsohn family home. There was no dramatic escape. No hidden tunnel. Sarah calmly opened the door. She was immediately placed under arrest. Neighbors watched silently. Some lowered their heads. Others feared they would be next. The soldiers marched her through the village streets. She never resisted. Inside the Ottoman headquarters, the questioning began. At first, the officers acted politely. They claimed they only wanted information. If she cooperated, she would be released. Sarah remained silent. Hours passed. The tone changed. The interrogators became impatient. They accused her of working for Britain. She denied nothing, but she admitted nothing either. Then the torture began. Historical accounts described days of relentless abuse. She was beaten, whipped, kept awake for endless hours. Her captors demanded the same thing over and over. Give us the names. Every answer she refused to give saved another life. The Ottomans changed tactics. They threatened her family, her friends, the people of Zikrin-Yuakov. Still, she refused to speak. According to later testimonies, even experienced Ottoman officers were astonished by her determination. Most prisoners eventually reached a breaking point. Sarah never did. Outside the prison, panic spread through the underground network. British intelligence lost contact with one of its most valuable agents. No one knew how much she had revealed. No one knew if the network still existed. Some members fled immediately. Others destroyed evidence before disappearing into neighboring villages. The spy network Sarah had helped build was collapsing. Yet even under unbearable pain, its greatest secret remained protected. After several days of interrogation, the Ottoman authorities made a decision. Sarah would be transferred to Damascus. Everyone understood what that meant. Damascus was infamous throughout the empire. Few political prisoners ever returned alive. Sarah understood it too. If she reached Damascus, the torture would continue. And eventually, even the strongest human spirit has limits. For the first time since her arrest, she made a decision entirely on her own. A decision that would ensure the names of her fellow spies would die with her. The Ottoman officers agreed to one final request. Before being transported to Damascus, Sarah asked if she could return home for a few minutes. She said she wanted to change her clothes, perhaps say goodbye to her family. The guards believed she was defeated. After days of torture, she barely had the strength to stand. There seemed little chance she could escape. So they escorted her back to the Aaronsohn house and waited outside. Inside, Sarah walked slowly through the familiar rooms she had known since childhood. Every corner held memories. Family dinners, secret meetings, hidden maps, late nights spent writing coded reports by candlelight. She knew she would never see this home again. Some accounts suggest she embraced members of her family. Others say there was almost no conversation at all. No one truly knows what was said inside those walls. But historians agree on what happened next. Hidden inside the house, Sarah had concealed a small pistol. She had prepared for this possibility long before her arrest. Not because she expected to lose, because she refused to let the Ottoman authorities decide how her story would end. She retrieved the weapon. For just a moment, everything became silent. Outside, the guards waited impatiently. Then, a single gunshot echoed through the house. The officers rushed inside. Sarah lay gravely wounded, but she was still alive. The bullet had not killed her instantly. For several agonizing days, she remained under guard. Doctors attempted to keep her alive. The Ottoman authorities hoped she might recover, just enough to continue the interrogation. She never gave them that opportunity. On October 9, 1917, Sarah Aaronsohn died. She was only 27 years old. She never revealed the names of the people who trusted her. She never exposed the full structure of Neely. The network suffered devastating losses. Many members were arrested. Some were executed. Others escaped into exile. Yet the intelligence Sarah and her fellow agents had already delivered continued reaching British commanders. Only weeks after her death, General Edmund Allenby launched his offensive into Palestine. British forces advanced with remarkable speed. Military historians still debate exactly how decisive Neely's intelligence proved, but many agree it gave the British an extraordinary understanding of Ottoman defenses, supply routes, and troop positions. In December 1917, Jerusalem fell to British forces. More than 4 centuries of Ottoman rule in the city came to an end. Sarah never lived to witness it. She never saw the outcome of the risks she had taken. She never knew whether her sacrifice had truly mattered. But history remembered. Not simply because she became a spy. Many people become spies. Not because she faced torture. Others have endured the same. History remembered Sarah Aaronsohn because, when every reason to surrender stood before her, she protected others until her very last breath. She understood something few people ever face. Sometimes courage isn't measured by surviving. Sometimes, it's measured by what you're willing to protect, even when you know you'll never see tomorrow. Today, Sarah Aaronsohn is honored as one of Israel's greatest national heroes. Her home in Zikron Yaakov has been preserved as a museum. Visitors walk through the same rooms where secret intelligence reports were written, where impossible choices were made, and where one young woman changed the course of history without ever commanding an army. More than a century later, her story still raises a timeless question. What gives an ordinary person the strength to remain silent when the price of speaking is someone else's life? That answer died with Sarah Aaronsohn, and perhaps that is why her story has never been forgotten. If you enjoyed this documentary and want to discover more incredible true story,